Hey everyone, and welcome to the first of our breeder interviews that are actually spoken, seen, and not just written. We've got Brad from Raw Genetics, and joining us from Canada Buzz, we've got JR Token today. How you guys doing?
What's up, guys?
How's it going, man? Thanks for having me today.
Hey, no, thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule. Um, yeah, let's jump right into it because I know there's a lot of stuff that people would love to know because I want people to really get to know the breeders and have a little bit more knowledge and confidence in whose genetics they're buying and to want to make a more educated decision. So to begin with, JR, if you want to alternate with me on these questions, I'll take the first and see if you want to go with the second. Uh, so Brad, where are you from and how did you get into the cannabis industry?
Yeah, so I grew up mostly in Texas, but I was actually living in Florida. I've lived quite a few different places over time. And it was when I was working down in Fort Lauderdale area, just getting into my motorcycle career. I kind of met somebody who was like a builder out here in California and was, in the scene, so to speak. And that was kind of, oddly enough, my entry point there. Got a random phone call one day. I had moved like up toward West Palm Beach and stuff to go do some other stuff. And, they wanted to interview me to come out and operate a grow. And I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. Is that practical? It didn't really seem is that real? To shorten it up, obviously we took that opportunity and that's pretty much how I ended up out here in California.
Right on, man. Cool stuff. I didn't know you're in the motorcycle industry originally.
Yeah, so I love riding motorcycles. If people have been following me long enough, I'm sure they may remember a time when I used to even post some motorcycle stuff, mix it in a little bit of cannabis stuff there, but we phased that out over time. But yeah, big passion for riding motorcycles. Actually went to school at MMI for it. Saved me some money working on my own bike.
Nice, man.
Yeah, I saw that BMW bike you had, the blue and white one.
Yeah, Becky.
Silver. Yeah,
That's my girl.
beautiful, beautiful bike.
Yeah, man, I love that. That was a big goal for me for a long time, especially when I went to school. They got the BMW class up there. I actually had way too many tickets, and so BMW is really picky. And if you have too many tickets, they won't let you qualify for the class. So I just kind of had to. I just had to take my Honda class, and it was the most in depth, and just be happy and daydream about BMWs. And now I own it. So yeah, little victory there.
So, how long have you been breeding, and how did you get into breeding?
So it would definitely be over 10 years ago at this point, would be the first time that I intentionally engaged in like trying to make some stuff. I had no idea what I was doing. I'm sure I've mentioned it before, just really like, I just didn't know. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't really understand the male was going to dump pollen. And even though I had been getting, Mexican brickweed back in Texas my whole life with seeds in it, just kind of, things didn't really line up unless you really dig into it at the time. And so that's when we made our first crosses. That's back in Florida, before I ever came out to California or had the opportunity. And then once I got out here and started having, being involved in the industry and getting in there a little more, I was like, why don't we make things that work specifically for us? And they were like, that's too hard. You don't want to get into that. And I'm like, well, I've done it before, it's like, not that I knew what I was doing, but, and so, eventually it kind of led back into me taking another swing at it. And so, yeah, I would say hard to put an exact date on it, but easily over 10 years at this point that I've been working on breeding.
Yeah, I still have one of your original raw cookie crosses that you did.
Oh yeah.
It had a marker that said raw on it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Classic, man. I always tell people because when they ask like where did raw come from, how did we start, and legit, other than like knowing people like you and getting you some stuff through, because like I knew you through my network with Scotty and stuff. So
Yeah.
but literally just went out to the high time shows because the industry was lit in California, and I had just little pink bags and I had the handwritten labels, and nobody was asking for raw genetics, or it was like, what the fuck is that? And yeah, it was just literally me and my brother. I'd just be like, all right, bro, walk up to these people over here and he's like, I don't want to do it. I'm like, you have to do it. And, and that's literally it. Like, we would just kind of alternate taking that awkward step and walking up to strangers at the High Time show and just being like, hey, what's going on, man? You need some seeds? And they're like, what's this? And I'm like, what I got thrown in the bottom of a lot of people's bags and never seen again. I think I saw like one person that posted it online, and like little pink classic, like little Graham bag. just so funny to look back
That's
at
all
it
is.
Yeah, man, so funny. So small.
Yeah, you've come a long ways.
Yeah, and definitely you come in the right direction. I love it. And I was going to ask this a little later, but something you said made me want to ask it now when you're saying, why don't we cross things that are geared towards what we want? And that brings me to what inspires you to cross certain varieties together. Is it based on what's hot right now, or are there other factors in play that you really gear it towards?
Yeah, I would say attention is definitely a factor. Just from the consumer side, people see and they eat with their eyes a lot. So you see it usually on Instagram. You see these hype phenos, RS11, things from cookies, whatever it is, and people really want to have access. But it's hard for everybody to have access to these things, and that's kind of where breeders come in. We do our best to make those products available to people so you can get a piece of RS11, or just insert whatever interesting thing that you're looking for here. If it's got enough pull, we're probably trying to find a way to deliver that to you. And then of course beyond that, as we're doing that, we're also integrating things that we want to do, even to the point of where I know sometimes I make things that aren't market appealing, as like people don't want to buy that. They don't want to buy like a sativa thing. And I'm not a big fan of making sativa crosses, but I do make a few. And even if I have to make it for a personal note and then give it away as a promotional item, we do that too. So it's a combination of both. It's really on to whatever the consumer wants, whatever you guys are screaming for out there, whatever has the attention, if we have the ability to get it. And and I don't want to say like, oh, if it's hype, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna give it to you. If I get it and it's trash, then I'm not going to give it to you. I'm just going to be like, why?
That kind of leads up to our next question. Our next question, which is, how do you vet the genetics you bring in house?
Usually I get it from like somebody in my network, right? So I can trust the opinion of most people I know. Everybody's in their own place as far as that goes. And just depending on how much time is available, if we have time to dedicate some space or full flowering to something, then we'll always flower where we can. But I always at least get it where it's coming from somebody that I trusted, and they're flowering it, so we can at least verify the authenticity and see that it's actually like interesting, because not everything that gets selected is interesting. Sometimes things get selected because they're commercially viable and check 6 out of 8 boxes or something like that, which makes it like a great commercial cultivar, probably something that's going to be a really good workhorse and a good consumer product. But that might not be the thing that we want to actually breed with just because it's a good consumer product.
Right on. And that actually leads into one of our questions that we got from an Instagram follower. They're curious when it comes to like vetting things. They were curious about the origins of the Georgia pie cut you used for the S1, which from everyone that I've seen grow it out looked absolutely amazing. And I wish I could just roll up my Instagram feed and smoke that, because it looked so freaking good, man.
Yeah, they're fire. So I don't know exactly like how much I can say. I don't want to like,
I don't want you to go against the NDA that you signed.
Right. I didn't sign anything. I don't have anything personally to worry about. But either way, I'm not dry snitching. I love my people out here. So basically, one of my really good friends, a very trusted individual, has another friend, so it's kind of once removed down the line, so to speak. But
still in the circle of trust.
Exactly right. Okay. And I knew for sure that everything was authentic, and I'm pretty sure the Georgia pie came with a fake number attached to it, and we're all posting that number for the longest time, and so that number probably indicated the cookies the origin anyway. Cookies is pretty clever. I mean, hats off to them. They're not too bad at what they do. So but it definitely originates at Seed Junkies selection, and and we're fortunate enough to get it in the earliest phase of like that genesis of cookie cuts getting leaked out. And so we're actually first to table, to bring out the Georgia pie crosses to people, which have really been great. It's been great commercial level cultivars that really check, the exotic bag at the same time on most of the expressions that you'll see. So the authenticity of the cuts for sure. Even Seed Junkie kind of tried to post a story one time and kind of like lightweight call us out. But by the time somebody had brought it to my attention, it had already been deleted. So I don't know. Nothing but love for Seed Junkie. I didn't leak your cut, but your cut did get leaked, and she is fire. He did a great job on that one. And so, yeah, I mean, just people love the Georgia pie cut, and I can see why. And so it's something that we're definitely actively doing more work with, more than just, making these feminized lines, but the fem line really let us know, what the market attention on it is. So.
Yeah, because it's absolutely fire. And everything that I've seen that it's been crossed with, especially off of your lines, has just been super heavy and just super frosty. And
Yeah,
everybody just
potency.
raves about the quality on it. So
Yeah,
props to
potency
the
too,
Seed
man.
Junkie for creating that in the beginning. And big kudos to you for doing some amazing work with that.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
feminized stuff's amazing. That cherry paloma, people are freaking out about that.
I love that too.
Rightfully so. It's amazing.
You kind of made it famous. I'm not going to lie, because like we grew it and a couple other people, our buddies at Kaya, they found a banger as well. But when you started posting that one and we started reposting it, it just caught like a wildfire of traction. And then we went from like where people weren't even requesting cherry paloma, and we knew it was fire. The market didn't seem to be too interested in it initially. But then when they saw you show it off, everybody was like, we need cherry paloma. And it's like, we were, so like the funny part is like, I didn't make cherry paloma twice, right? But I did make the majority of the other crosses twice, just by chance. I was like, well, people aren't interested, so why would I allocate the space, right? A perfect example of like, the market's telling me what to do in a lot of cases, right? If I make it and you don't love it, why would I make more of it? It's silly. It's a waste of time. So, that was kind of the outlook on it, ironically, at that time. And then it just caught this wildfire, and now people are like, I'm getting asked for it like regularly at shows. And yeah, so, we're working on making more now, since everybody's decided that they're really interested in it. And I'm happy to bring that, because it's definitely a quality product. So, great yielders, great color, potency, flavor. I mean, it checks the boxes. So
it really does. It really does.
it's not just like orange. Yeah, I was gonna say, it's not just like, oh, you got this orange thing, it's tangy. Like, no, the Trop Cherry is probably the most interesting of the Trop crosses that I personally have seen. Relentless did a great job. It's actually Relentless's pheno Trop Cherry cut. So, hats off to him on that selection.
Yeah, no, that Trop Cherry checks the boxes so hard I can't get off the couch when I smoke JRs. I'll say that right now. It's like before I fire up a bowl, I need to buckle up the seatbelt on the couch because I'm not moving.
He said, get a pot of coffee ready, guys. We're smoking.
Great nighttime stuff. Sorry,
Yeah.
JR.
Another one that people are talking a lot that we got hit up from Instagram about was the pecan pie. Can you speak on the pecan pie a little bit?
Yeah, so the pecan pie was actually our first offering that we had with Georgia. So we use burnt toast to make that right there. Burnt toast is made of Burner's cookie and French toast, which French toast is like some of our earliest stuff at this point. So the Burner cut is actually the legit Thin Mint cut, but I just leave it labeled as Burner 99% of the time, because I actually have a sourced from the streets Thin Mint cut, which runs side by side. I mean, you can't really tell the difference between them. Pretty sure they're the same cut. But I know, like, I got the Burner cut with Sunset Sherbet, and we got that directly from, some cookies licensing thing. So, or Sherbinsky, like, I don't know, one of those things, my homie, not me, again, just kind of the recipient in this circle on that one. But so yeah, the Burner cookie's great. Actually test it like 32% several times. A decent yielding cookie. You're able to get to a light with it. So burnt toast is definitely built to perform. And then you cross that with another great performer like Georgia Pie, which literally first time that I ever ran the cut, 2.5 a light, boom, right out the gate, just fucking swinging for the fences. So Yeah, I mean, you're going to see some really great performers. And from French Toast, you've got basically a three-way OG cross out of archive there. And then, Gelati, Cushman's, you've got really an all-star lineup built into that pecan pie there. Actually getting ready to crack back into pecan pie and start looking for males myself. So yeah, if you got pecan pie, I think you got something special. It was a limited release. The burnt toast mail's been gone. And so, yeah, those seeds are some of the last. I've got a few packs we kept for ourselves, and they're in the next lineup of traditional seeds that we're going to hunt for males.
I've got the burnt toast F2 going right now.
Nice, nice.
And so just can you tell me a little bit about that one?
Yeah, so again, like I said, the burnt toast is something that I really like a lot, and we're using it for a variety of things. So we have a burnt toast line that we did, and we never really properly released or marketed it, even though it was tested. We just kind of, I don't know why, we just didn't have our attention. We kind of fumbled the ball. So we've been letting that out little by little right now. Burnt toast has been crushing it in the meantime. While we were doing other things, burnt toast was racking up first place wins down in Colombia. For a guy from Homegrown TV on YouTube. His name is Dakota. Super, super knowledgeable, great guy, well connected out there. You guys should definitely tap in and watch his his YouTube channel, Homegrown TV. He's definitely got a lot of great other interviews with people and stuff there. So yeah, burnt toast is definitely a proven winner. And you've got the F2s there. So that's actually another one that's in line with the pecan pie. And a variety of other things like some rainbow belts crosses and some different stuff that we want to look through to find males. Because I definitely, I'm a big believer in continuing to do the traditional breeding with the males and stuff like that, while also, doing the feminized work.
Right
Yeah, I
on.
appreciate those regs out there still.
Yeah, don't want to let them go. I mean, for the longest time, I was like, I'm not going to make femmes, but hey, again, it's like, when the people are just telling you like, make femmes, bro, make femmes. And it's like, okay, all right. Which, learning to make feminized seeds. I know I've mentioned it before, but it was like, it was a rough path, like somebody can, like you can lead a horse to water, so to speak, right? Like you can tell somebody how to do it, but if there's some nuanced details you don't know, it creates some struggles, which is always for the best. Now we're pretty solid. We're pretty good at doing it. But yeah, I mean, I had plenty of failures in the reversal game before we had any successes. So
Yeah, and it's not just the burner that you had tested, I think recently. 32% was the strawberry fritter. Rip City Roots did a test on that. Shout out to them. They absolutely crushed it. So
yeah,
I got to track it down because they're up near JR and I want to get a hold of a little bit of that.
yeah, man. I saw that online. Yeah, shout out to them for pulling the big numbers. Yeah, like I said, the goal is definitely a lot of things that are commercially viable. Not everything is. I mean, right now we're doing a lot of work with Skittles through the slushy line and some rainbow belt stuff in the Zephyr project. And, so something like that, I'm not going to act like these are going to be the highest yielders. They're not probably going to be quite as competitive as like Georgia Pie or Stuffed French Toast Cross. But, there is a purpose behind the projects always. So.
Yeah, and that's great for somebody like me because I don't have the most space personally. And when it comes to the balance between yield versus, flavor, I'm going to go towards flavor because that's going to be what I'm smoking. And I know that I want to enjoy it. And I know
Yep.
that your lines are some of the ones that'll definitely provide that. And to create that transitions into our next question set. What's your preferred grow style, nutrient line, kind of medium you like to use? Like, how do you function as a grower?
So we actually run Athena. So we use all Athena line right now. Been really happy with the performance and consistency, the consistency of the pH and everything. Rock and cleanse in there is definitely useful. But if you're rock and cleanse, you're also not super focused on trying to build up microbes, which I don't really know any that perform well in hydroponics anyway. So when you're using synthetics, I'm kind of just like, I love you microbes, but I'm not stressing you. So yeah, we run Athena. I use Pro Mix BX, so it's like a peat moss mix. It's already got some perlite and stuff built into it. I've been running that for quite a few years, having great results, great performance, and just been really happy with, the overall outcome that I see. Other than that, I add Power SI. Definitely got to get the silica in there, and then in flour, and just through the process we use honeycomb as well. Try to boost, the bricks, make sure to help add a little bit of aroma and flavor in there, which I do see has a great effect.
Nice, nice. And kind of shifting gears a little bit, and this kind of, we should have asked you this before, but how do you feel about autoflowers from a breeder's perspective?
I like autoflowers. The only thing is when people ask me, like, do you have autoflowers? Are we going to make them? For me and for raw, I think this is somewhere where we're not going to go. We're not really focused on, the autoflowers. I think there are a lot of guys who are stellar at producing those, and you would do yourself a favor by really leaning into the people who focus on those. So I think autoflowers are great. They've got a lot of variety of uses, from like beginners, new people, whatever your climate may be. You may not be able to grow outside or inside, but the autoflower can just kind of rock for you all the time. So there's a great use, utility, and reason why they exist. It's not something where I don't have a lot of experience with it personally. I actually can't even think of a time where I've smoked autoflowers. So it's hard to have an opinion on, like, the potency or anything like that. But as far as like a sector of the market, I think that it's got a great, use case for it. And, you should really focus on breeders that specialize in it if that's what you want to get.
Yeah, I've grown a few autoflowers, and I've yet to have one that actually, I wouldn't call really good smoke.
And it takes like 4 generations minimum, if I'm not mistaken. It might actually be 5, but the point is there's actually a tremendous amount of like work in creating the consistency of them being autoflowers. And I'm not super knowledge, like I don't have a big knowledge base in this area, so somebody can please correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, that's why I want to focus on the things that we know, the things that we do. And I think if we were trying to add autoflowers into our lineup, it would just affect the quality of the other things that we already do. And we're trying to make sure that we only bring the quality up. So
Nice.
Right on. Yeah, autoflowers definitely have their place. And that place is largely not in my garden, but for some people, it's
yeah,
definitely what works. So I'm
I
all
mean,
for it.
I've heard of people running them in volume for like extraction or hash or anything. Because again, it's like
Yeah.
you can line them up and you
And it's a
can
good
have them
bumper crop too. If you're
exactly.
for right between harvest and seasons. I mean, there are people that live in places with that latitude, like Alaska, for example.
Yeah,
I mean, where they've got all that light, autos are
yeah,
perfect.
Or
yeah.
Get
Where
even
are
it.
you
here,
doing?
even here in Oregon, we've got the rains. They start coming in around September, and so
Yeah,
you're usually not out of the ground until October. So you're always fighting that. And with autoflowers, you can get them in early, get them out early, and have
yep.
stuff that's at least usable for edibles, RSO,
That's what I'm
that
saying. You
kind of
can
thing.
make some pins or something. You could probably make some very clean distillate and then make actual quality pins, because like I'm not a big fan of pins, but I've had some where I'm like, hey, these are good. They don't make me cough. They don't make me feel congested. So it's like you can do it well. And that may be a place where autoflowers excel, because it's like you can, like you said, you can stagger them. You can really control the time frame on them a little bit more. You don't have to worry about the weather. Like they just need consistency, from what I understand. And I'm sure it's like anything else. The more autos you run, I would imagine you get better at
Yeah.
handling
And you just
practices as
got a
well.
little bit of
So
extra room in your veg tent. Just throw an auto in the corner.
there you go. A couple house plants. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's see, with prohibition falling down throughout the US, and do you see more of the East Coast and Southern breeders coming to the market?
Yeah, I mean, I know some East Coast guys already. East Coast definitely super active. Southern, I don't know. I mean, I don't really know any like like Texas or
None of
Florida
them Southern
brands or
boys.
any. Yeah, I don't really know anybody coming out of there. But East Coast, yeah, definitely like Bungla Tech's a buddy of mine. He's definitely out of East Coast in Maine. he's crushing it. They're licensed. They're doing some really great stuff as well as breeding. And my buddy Reddington Cannabis, he's busted into the seed game recently, and I've been helping him, learn the ins and outs and just kind of nudging him a little bit when he needs it. And now he's got back cross 3 meat. Man, he's gonna be pissed. I can't remember what it's called. Back cross the meat breath, I think. I'm pretty sure it's what it is. I think it's a back cross 3 on meat breath. Because he loves that thing. So yeah, he's putting in the work there. And so yeah, I think over time, we'll definitely see more people but it always comes in waves, right? Like we always see like spurts of breeders pop up, and then like people kind of like die off when they realize it's not a cash cow. It's not just like you're gonna pop up and just be like, oh wow, I'm blowing out over here. Maybe you will, but the majority of people won't. So yeah, but I think the competition is great. So if anybody from the East Coast or the South is considering becoming a breeder and is wanting to jump into it, just play around with it a little bit. You might find you really like it. I'm pro competition, so whatever. Maybe I don't think anybody's really going to take anything off anybody else's plate. Like if you're doing really good work, it always speaks. I mean, you need a little marketing, but if you're doing good work, I mean, people see it, and you're usually good.
Yeah, and they're
Now
definitely
with there being so many different breeders and varieties out there, do you see in the future it less likely to be like the one, kind of like OG Kush was, or how when Girl Scout cookies first came out, it was like the thing to have? Do you see that still being a trend where we're going to mark those, or do you see with so much diversity that you won't maybe have those the ones? You know what I mean?
I mean, I think there's always going to be something that captures a lot of attention from people. It was Mac for the longest time. It was cookies and cream, and it's runts and all these different things. And so I think just naturally people's attention kind of moves over time. And we're always going to find something else that's going to be the next one. Not everything's the one for the same amount of time, right? So some things have like great longevity. Like I feel like the runts, runts is just running and running and running. And I guess people are same thing with gelato. Like gelato is the one, right? Gelato's running until it starts to burn out a little bit. So I think that there's always going to be a new one, and somebody else is always going to create it, whether it's actual quality or fantastic marketing and networking. There will always be something new that's going to capture more attention from the market than the rest of the products out there.
Sounds about right. And I think the next thing that everybody's going to be clamoring for is some more cherry paloma and some slushies, but that's just an unbiased opinion.
Yeah, man, the slushies are good. We're already rolling slushies out. If anybody was paying attention on 420, we snuck some slushies into our 420 drop, even at the discounted price and everything. Just really wanted to bring some tremendous value to people, through the 420 holiday. It's pretty much an official stoner holiday, I would say. So it's a good opportunity to make some new stuff available at literally it was like 30% off. So you're not gonna see that every day. But yeah, man, we've got some more slushy stuff that's getting ready to roll out. We've actually got a apples and bananas feminized line that we just made recently that's getting ready to start rolling out. As well as we've got these burnt toast power packs. If anybody's interested in burnt toast, you're interested in traditional seeds or looking for like some good breeding stock that has cookies in it, I would really point you toward the power packs. Literally getting 2 full packs for the price of one, and we'll probably be running some more promos on those too, trying to get some good savings to the people through the summertime.
Beautiful. So how do you see the cannabis industry kind of evolving in the next 10 years?
That's going to be interesting. It's hard to really project, 10 years. I think I've heard 10 years it'll all be legal so many times in my lifetime. And over the last few years, the ball keeps moving, so to speak. But I think, acceptance will be up, legality will be up, more places will be legal. And, long term, we're looking just to like license the people and help provide unique stuff like that to make the longevity, to make the long run 10 more years. So, we're about 10 years in now. We're looking to go another 10 years for sure. So I don't know exactly where we'll be or where the industry will be, but hopefully it will be more competitive in the quality sector than just the production sector.
Right on. And then the last two things to wrap everything up. Do you have a favorite strain that you've made so far? And most importantly, what are you smoking today?
So just before the show, I was taking the last few dabs I had of some strawberry fritter. One of my buddies, he got a pheno from me, which oddly enough, it was like the pheno that is from the traditional seeds. I actually thought it was a male at first. I didn't do sex testing. I just kind of like tried to early identify. I was wrong. And so it didn't make it into the flower cycle, and she was kind of lingering. So I was just like, hey, take this, check it out. It should be good. And it turns out that it did like, over 5% fresh frozen, did really great, made some fantastic strawberry hash. If anybody saw me at Grow Gin the other weekend, they probably got a chance to at least see it. So yeah, I was smoking strawberry fritter right before the show, but now I am out. I need to get more.
And favorite strain you've made, and what really made it a favorite to you?
So the favorite strain is kind of like a question, I think everybody asks, like, what's your favorite? Favorite's tough for me because I have a pretty big, like, I like a variety of different flavors. I'll get bored if I smoke any one thing for too long. And also always trying to look forward, like, okay, while we did Georgia, we did all these other things. And as we're like enjoying the profiles and looking what we can do, we're already looking ahead, like, all right, what's the next thing can be? And then like, how do we integrate these gas profiles? So for me, I don't have like per se anything that's my favorite. Like when I think favorite, like, I don't know, nothing comes to mind. I just think about like, what's new? What are we working on? Where do we want to go? And again, that's just really because I like a variety, which is kind of why breeding works well, because literally you're not going to probably see more variety any other way than doing this. So I guess I just like variety, might actually be the true answer. But, directly not one specific thing, kind of like time specific flavors. So
Totally get it. And I really appreciate you putting that spin on it and not just lumping it as one phenotype of one strain. But you know what? It's an evolving thing that we have, this taste and preference of ours. And it's horrible to try and pigeonhole yourself on one thing, because then you're going to be biased against something you might like more on a different day for a different mood.
Yeah. But if we're breeding with it, you can bet that we like it. We believe in it. We think that it's got a purpose to cross it to other things and bring it to the table, and that there's something special going on there, or we would not, why would we want to do it otherwise?
And that's one of the reasons that I like to point people towards your genetics, is because you're not somebody who's just like, all right, you know what, let's just throw some pollen at this, let's do this. Or you actually want to work with stuff that you yourself would enjoy. And that's where I can see some passion coming through in your work. And that's one thing that I really like about having raw genetics on Superior.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think you put in the time to work some of these lines. You've been working some of these lines for a while now. And I think you're really kind of honing your craft. You're really built a lot of momentum, and your branding is great too.
Thank you. Yeah, we're working on doing more line breeding at this point. I know a lot of people have been asking, like, oh, are you going to line breed? Will you do more? So we're getting ready to start introducing a lot more lines built on back crossing, because I don't know, I just see more preferred things coming from back cross work than sometimes like F2, F3, F4 type of stuff. We'll work on that. Like we're going to work on the F3 for the burnt toast, so we'll see how that goes and what we're able to select and encourage the frequency of phenotypes to be coming out of the F3s. So that'll be our first F3. And then we've got the back cross stuff that we're working on in the background here too. So we'll definitely do some more line breeding again, which is why like we want to keep hunting males, selecting males, and honing the craft of like digging through and the nuanced experience of like, what is this going to do until you actually use it,
Right on, man. Well, hey, Brad, thank you again for your time today. I definitely appreciate it. And I hope our viewers and Instagram followers, I almost said subscribers, Please
Yeah.
like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Hope everybody enjoyed this, found some good knowledge from it. And
Yeah.
I hope you have a great rest of your day, man.
You too, man. Thanks for having me out, guys. It's always a pleasure to chat. And I would definitely encourage everybody, jump into Discord. You know, we've got one. I do believe our friends here at Superior will have one soon. Hop on Cannabis. You know what I'm saying? JR helped found that. It's definitely something the community should help support. And I look forward to seeing everybody in the next one.
Right
See you,
on.
Scott.